Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Kakadash. Double honor to the positive great meals, on the time, the truth, and rule well. Peace, best in the salutation to Akim out there. Scattered abroad to fork on the earth, that serving the truth, our true sincerity. To I say Shalom. This is about Nabala concerning the video in the spirit. And the top of this video is going to be about everyone is starting to feel it. And what sparked this video topic was just earlier in the week, just being out and about, just hearing how people are what they're going through, and it's not just Jake that's out here, catching hell. These other nations are starting to catch hell too. They're starting to go through those similar struggles that Jake been going through, for majority of their life. And this is a beautiful thing to see, because this links up, with prophecy, and we understand seeing these things that, again, we're getting closer and closer to Yahweh Shai's return. So I'm gonna grab this. This is Deuteronomy 30:7. It says, "And thy Lord, thy power, will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." And who's one of the main nations that persecuted the Lord's chosen people? You Edomites, the so-called white man. Okay, you white people have persecuted the Israelites, for years, man. And one of the most notable times y'all did that is when y'all brought us over here, to the America. We had to serve out that hard bondage slavery, but throughout history, you've always came up against the Israelites, man. But now we're in a time where the Lord is starting to plague you now. The Lord is starting to put these curses that was upon us on you. I remember that video about that Edomite woman, talking about how, her husband, they work, they work, I guess they got good jobs or whatever, but how they still was struggling to try to make ends meet. And they had a two household income, if that makes sense. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, they had two incomes coming into one household, and they said they still were struggling. And then when I was at this office, this medical office, I heard this woman talking about she was an Edomite woman, but she looks like an Edomite woman, but how she was going through the struggles with, her medical stuff, and there's a lot of that going on. Another time when I was at an office, I heard about an Edomite man, how he was going through some type of medical troubles. I'm talking about, dealing with insurance and getting stuff covered and getting stuff paid for and taken care of. There is not as easy as it once was for them, because usually, they have these good jobs, they have these good benefits, or he relies on the system too. It ain't just Jake that fully relies on E's system. Esau relies on their own system as well. But now, since this man is in office, he's causing everything to be harder for everybody. It's not just about Jake. We understand that his main target is Jake, but it's not just about Jake. Everyone is feeling it, and it's all links up with prophecy. So when I come over here to 2nd Ezra 15, and I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." So the Lord is plaguing this place. And it says upon the world. That means everyone in the world is going to feel these plagues that are being brought upon this place, man. The sword, a lot. Judgment is touching everybody, It's not just about Jake. Everyone's getting taken out. I seen this video. I think he was a Edomite man, if I'm not sure, but he picked up and body slammed a small, I think, Ishmaelite kid. So that's the times we're living in, where it used to be a lot of Jake on Jake crime, but now it's everybody's getting touched, everybody's getting hit up. So I'm gonna continue to read. It says, "For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, therefore their hurtful works are fulfilled. Yeah, so wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, man. The Lord is tired of this place, man. He's been tired of this place, but we understand that he's bound by his word. So everything has to play out until he can finally release his fury upon this place, you know? But before that happens, everyone's gonna be in a pitiful case, man. Everyone's gonna be struggling, you know, because he's using Trump, you know, to make this two-class society, the rich and the poor. And you gotta understand, the rich is talking about the wealthy, you know, the ones who really got it, you know, the money. And then even, you know, if you do got consider yourself in that standing, you still gonna feel it too. Because if Fat Joe, I remember Fat Joe and the rapper Jadakiss, they was sitting down and they was talking about how they still gotta work, you know, just because you so-called made it or whatever and got, you know, some fame and some money don't mean nothing. They say them bills still come, so they still gotta, you know, try to maintain a certain lifestyle, so they still gotta work and they still be going through their little problems or whatever, you know. And you hear a lot of famous people, athletes and all that talk about how, you know, you still got to pay them taxes. And you've seen that throughout the years, how a lot of people get in trouble for not paying their taxes. Wasn't that a whole thing that was going on with Trump? You know, taxes was one of the things that he got caught up with. But that show you that the wealthy, they don't pay taxes. If you're super wealthy, like really got money, then you can kind of get out of that situation. But if you're not, you get caught up. I remember Wesley Snipes, he got locked up because he didn't pay his taxes, man. You know, they don't. You know, this system don't play. You know, it don't care who you are. You know, Uncle Sam wants his money. It was one more example I was about to say. It slipped my mind. But all that to say that it's gonna come a time where that fame, that money, none of that stuff is going to matter, man. You know, everyone's gonna be put on an even playing field because it's gonna be about survival. It's not gonna be about how much money you got, you know, who you are. It's gonna be about surviving out here. I was watching this video earlier, and it was this dude. You know, he was sitting down and they was talking about Civil War. And he said, yeah, you know, we are close to Civil War. And you don't want someone like me who's out here with the type of mind I have out here when it's that type of time. Because he was saying that it comes to about me and mine. Only I matter. So yeah, you can be my friend one day, but if you got something that I need that's gonna help my family, then I'ma come get you. I'ma come take you out. That's exactly what he said. And that's the type of times that we're entering into. It's not gonna matter if you a so-called white person, man. If you got some type of standing, if you live in a good neighborhood, that's not gonna matter. When all hell breaks loose, everyone is gonna feel it. And everyone's feeling it now. But the financial struggles, you know, it's hard to make ends meet out here, you know, because what? Inflation is happening, famine is happening. All these things are happening, man. So it doesn't, your status or who you are in this world is not going to matter really soon. It damn near don't matter now, man. You see what happened out there in LA with those riots, man. What did the scripture say? When you go down here, it says it. I'm gonna read verse 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. Yep. It says, for there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. It says, in the course of their actions stand in their power. Yeah. So that's the time that we're coming into, man. Okay. It says, for the sword of destruction draw not, one people stand against another with swords in hand. Now that's what it sounds like. It sounds like civil war. It says, not regard their kings and princes, those governors, those mayors, those ones in those power seats. People are not going to care about that, man. It's going to be about survival. But before we get there, everyone is going to be put on the same playing field, man. Because Trump keep passing these executive orders and doing these things that's affecting everybody. Yeah, again, we understand that the main people trying to come up against is Jake, the Israelites, but everyone is still going to be affected by this stuff. So, no, hold on. I'm coming right over here. This is 2 Esdras 6 and 14. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundations of the earth. Yeah. It says the plagues are sent and shall not return again. Yeah, so these things that are happening, they're going to continue to intensify. Okay, people think that everything's going to be all good. And like I was speaking in the other video I did, because they're still able to go out to the grocery store, they're still able to go to this city, to go to that city, to travel, you know, to do all these type of things. We're coming to a time where all that's going to be shut down, okay? Things are going to continue to get worse and worse. Things are not going to be good until Yahushua returns and he saves his elect. Things are going to be good for us. If you're an Israelite and Yahushua, you're part of the elect, then you're going to be okay. But for anybody else, for any of these other nations, for 2/3 of our people, they're going to be through, man. But yeah, we're in a time now where it's getting real, man. You know, these things that are, this war that's happening, you're going to be affected by that. People don't think that a draft is going to happen. Yeah, you see all these people making these memes and TikToks about a draft, but that's something that's going to really happen. You people are going to get drafted into this war. Whether you think that you have something to do with this or not, you think you're just an innocent American, as they like to say, you're going to be dragged into this war. And if you don't want to go fight, then they're going to throw your ass in a concentration camp. And especially when the MOTB is made mandatory, if you choose not to take it, what they're gonna throw your ass in a concentration camp, or they're gonna just probably ultimately delete you out the way. These are the times that we're entering into, and as us being a watchman, we're telling you what's going on. We're telling Jake to wake up. We're telling Jake to get their shit together while they can. Turn to the Lord, man. But we understand that all Israel is not gonna get it. It's only for the elect. So Yahushua, this message reached the elect, man, and they wake up. So that's pretty much it. I ain't gonna make this too long. Lord, when this video is edifying, I'm gonna close up by giving our praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Shalom.